Ladies and gentlemen, here's your second stimulus check, enhanced unemployment payment, and EIDL grant update for August 28th, 2020. In this video, I'm going to tell you to which states FEMA just announced awarding the grant to pay for 3 weeks of $300 a week enhanced unemployment benefits funded by the federal government pursuant to President Donald Trump's executive order he signed on August 8th, how Politico's interview of National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's statements prove that no public official, no lawmaker on either side of the aisle wants to send you another round of stimulus checks. They don't want to pay you the $600 a week boost up and enhanced unemployment payments that the American people need and the economy is screaming and begging for, or the Small Business Administration Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance at the $10,000 level without any caps, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why you have to vote these people out. I'm going to prove to you today why you have to prove these people out, because they don't want to give you, the American people, the support you need to feed your families, save your businesses, keep your employees on payroll, ladies and gentlemen. As I told you yesterday was the first day in 6 that FEMA did not officially announce that they awarded the grant to pay for 3 weeks of $300 a week supplemental payments funded by the federal government. It appeared that Hurricane Laura was going to slam the states of Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and FEMA would have to potentially tap into the disaster relief fund and potentially exhaust it to the point where they would have to conclude the fund and not pay out any money to additional states if FEMA did not announce any awards. Nonetheless, later on in the day, FEMA actually updated their website to reflect that on August 26th, FEMA awarded the grant to 2 more states, and yesterday, they updated the website again to show that they awarded the grant yesterday to another state. So as of right now, FEMA has awarded the grant to the states of Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, Missouri, Utah, New Mexico, Idaho, Montana, Oklahoma, not Oakland, Maryland, Texas, Kentucky, Michigan, North Carolina, California, Alabama, Indiana, Massachusetts, Tennessee, Mississippi, Vermont, Rhode Island, New York, Alaska, Georgia, New Hampshire, Washington, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Arkansas, Maine, and now on August 26th, FEMA awarded the grant to Virginia and Ohio, and yesterday FEMA announced that it awarded the grant to pay for the $300 a week boost up to West Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. So now you have a total of 10, 20, 30, 5 states that FEMA is awarded with the grant to pay for 3 weeks of $300 a week supplemental payments to people on unemployment insurance compensation packages, ladies and gentlemen. As I told you, in order for you to qualify to receive this benefit, you have to be making at least, or the state has to be paying you at least $100 a week in regular state benefits, ladies and gentlemen. As of right now, there are 9 states that pay at least $100 a week in regular state benefits. Therefore, every resident of these states qualifies for the $300 a week boost up funded by the federal government. These are the states of Arizona, Kansas, Michigan, Montana, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oregon, and Washington. New Hampshire has announced through its guidance that it will officially increase the minimum payment for people on unemployment insurance to $100 a week, so everyone in the state of New Hampshire will qualify to receive the $300 a week boost up and enhanced unemployment benefits. As of right now, 3 states, the states of Kentucky, Montana, and West Virginia, have committed to paying out regular state unemployment benefits plus a $100 a week boost up funded by the state pursuant to the original mandate on Trump's executive order, and a $300 a week boost up amounting for a total of a $400 a week boost up, as per the president's intention when he signed the executive order. Of course, states, they stated that they were cash strapped, they were suffering revenue shortfalls. Revenue shortfalls are estimated to be at $500 billion for states at this particular point in time. So he stated the administration retracted that requirement for the $100 a week constituting 25% share the states were to contribute. And now, as long as through regular state benefits people are paid $100 a week, then the people that receive the $100 a week will qualify to receive the benefit. Nonetheless, a University of Illinois professor and labor economist stated that 6% and amounting to a whopping 1.5 million people who do not receive at least $100 $100 a week in unemployment compensation from the state will not qualify to receive this benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know let me know of any questions you have in regards to this program in the comment section below. I'll keep you up to date as to any developments and anything new that goes down with the program. Oh, and as of right now, the states of Arizona, Louisiana, Missouri, Tennessee, and Texas have already reported to pay out the benefits, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I was hounding you for the past few videos and telling you, listen, let's go out and register to see Politico's interview of National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow yesterday, August 27th at 1 p.m. And I told you to go ahead and post your questions to the panelists by registering for the form. So I was watching the video yesterday, and basically this is the first reporter that I see that had Larry Kudlow on his heels in regards to the economy, because as you know, the administration is boasting about all this success that it's been enjoying due to the measures, due to the president's enactment of the CARES Act through bipartisan legislation, etc., etc. You know, the adding of all millions of jobs. Nonetheless, we lost 20 million jobs and you added 9 million jobs. So Ben White, he's the moderator of the panel, Politico Live, that interviewed National Economic Council Director. He pressed Larry Kudlow on these issues, and Larry Kudlow, although Politico, Ben White did not directly ask him the questions that we posted. I know I told you to ask him, when will the administration support sending out the $600 a week supplemental payment of enhanced unemployment benefits that expired on July 3rd, 31st, but extending that through next year potentially, and the EIDL grant at $10,000 without the SBA caps. We did state that the economy is in ruins. And what happens when a reporter interviews top public officials, top politicians, they request the questions beforehand. So the politicians or the public official will be prepared to answer those questions during the interview. So I believe he did this in this particular case. And first thing that he said that came out of his mouth, although some people disagree with me, the economy is in ruins. He saw it potentially hundreds of times, just as what happened when we did the same thing to the interview, when we registered for the interview, to Politico's interview of Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. Said, although some people may agree with me, I believe that we are in a strong rebound. We are enjoying a strong rebound. And of course, he talked about his typical green shoots, hikes in unemployment, drops in the unemployment rate, hikes in home sales, hikes in auto sales. He didn't talk about the Apple Mobility Index, which is something that he typically cites on CNBC, how people are traveling more, hikes in consumer spending. Nonetheless, Ben White kept on pressing him on it. He kept on saying, okay, that's what you're talking about. Nonetheless, he didn't take in consideration all the stats that I've been talking about. 155,000 store closing as per the Yelp database, 61% permanent store closing. And I got more crumbling economic conditions that I need to tell you about that you also need to keep in mind. So don't be fooled as to what the administration or any lawmaker or any official is telling you. Things are as bad as you see them to be. Those quarter mile long lines at the food pantries and all these people on unemployment and people that can't find jobs. Okay. He also stated that he takes a look at initial jobless claims at the unadjusted number. He doesn't take a look at the seasonally adjusted number that puts initial jobless claims mostly above 1 million. So he's taking a look that he said that for the past several weeks, the unadjusted initial jobless claims have been below 1 million. So he's squeezing it. He's trying to milk that cow for everything, for every last drop of milk, to try to pull out as much optimism as possible to say, listen, we're doing a great job. Put us back in office. Give me back my cabinet seat when you re-elect President Donald Trump. Then Ben White kept on talking about how the administration states that they took an economy in shambles and completely turned it around, when in actuality, the economic expansion started 10 years ago under the previous administration, and the unemployment rate was dropping at the same rate that it has been dropping under the Trump administration. He pointed out, and then Kudlow pointed out that wage growth has been higher, and that the economic recovery of the Obama administration was slow, and that wage growth has been increasing faster under the Trump administration. And there were a couple of hikes in GDP that were lower than the hikes of GDP during the Trump administration. And then Ben White came back telling him how they can go back and forth forever, so they don't want to stay bogged down. But then he fact-checked them on something. He asked them, President Donald Trump, since 2015, he was talking about that the stock market was doing so well under the Obama administration because the Federal Reserve kept interest rates so low, and quantitative easing, the long-term buying of securities such as corporate bonds, such as treasury bonds. In other words, pumping money into the market to keep financial markets functional, ladies and gentlemen. And Ben White told him, listen, what's different about what the Federal Reserve was doing back then than what the Federal Reserve did at the passage of the CARES Act, after you enacted the CARES Act? They've been pumping money so the stock market can keep going up. They're enjoying all-time highs, which is why no one's in a hurry to pass a next round of stimulus, ladies and gentlemen, to help the American people, because the stock market is doing its thing. And as I told you before, and as I've proved to you before, stakeholders at public companies, they're the ones that line these politicians and these public officials' pockets. So they don't care about people that are not making these large donations to people on both sides of the aisle. I gave you the example via a couple of videos back, as per the founder of, Quicken Loans, the subsidiary of Rocket Companies, which is now a public company. How they won a multi-million-dollar, hundreds of million-dollar contract to process SBA advances, and now the dude's like one of the richest people on the planet, 28th richest person on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. And Kudlow stated that he did not know that President Donald Trump said that, although he was saying it repetitively prior to his announcement of running for president. And he said it during the campaign. He said that he didn't know that he said that, and he did not agree with that. And he says that now is a different situation, and he basically pivoted off of that. So after that, he stated that he also had, pro-growth policies, where the Obama administration did not have pro-growth policies through the tax cuts, and that brings us right into what's going on with the stimulus deal. Now, I want you to pay attention carefully, because Ben White, he said, listen, the administration does not look as if they are in a hurry to make a deal with Democrats to enact the next round of stimulus. So do you believe that we will be good, being that you've cited all these green shoots, without the next round of stimulus? And Larry Kudlow stated that we would be okay without it, that he believed that we would be okay without it. Again, National Economic Council Director. This is the chief economic advisor in the White House. He has the president's ear in terms of all things that have to deal with maintaining the economy, to having the economy grow. He told Ben White over at Politico that we would be okay without the next round of stimulus. While you post your anecdotal stories and you tell me how you can't feed your families, how your businesses are going under, he had the audacity to say this, ladies and gentlemen. We could be okay without it. They don't care. The administration, that's why they've been holding on to their red lines, ladies and gentlemen, because they don't care about it. They don't give a damn about giving you another round of stimulus, another round of checks, direct payments. They don't care about any of that, ladies and gentlemen, because otherwise they would have come through. They would have said, you know what? It costs $3 trillion. Let's go for $3 trillion. It costs $2.2 trillion, which is what Nancy Pelosi wants now. Let's go for it. But they don't care, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want to do it. And it's not only on their part, it's also coming from the other side of the aisle, which I'm going to tell you shortly. Ben White also said, why do we care about a top-line number? Because, first off, he said, I see that the disagreement comes because they're asking for too much money. And what does it matter that they're asking for too much money when the Trump tax cuts, according to the Office of Tax Analysis over the Treasury Department, will amount to revenue shortfalls of $2.3 trillion over the next 10 years. And if everything goes well, as planned, as per the projections of the administration, then the economy would be able to partially pay back some of that $2.3 trillion loss in revenues, ladies and gentlemen. It'll pay anywhere from $700 billion to $1 trillion back. The rest of the shortfall, it'll get tacked on right onto the deficit. That's if everything goes well. Understand what I'm saying? And they're worried about a few $100 billion that they can't get to in order to reach an agreement and make a deal with Democrats. Now, I'm going to prove to you why Democrats are also at fault. Nancy Pelosi, she released a statement after she spoke to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows yesterday, and it read that Democrats offered to take off $1 trillion off their Democrat proposal, and they have now, their Democrat proposal is now, the top line number is now at $2.2 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. So they've gone down to $2.2 trillion. So forget about what she said during the last Politico Live, where she stated that she'd be willing to cut the Democrat proposal in half, and how Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, staff member, called her chief of staff and stated, listen, if you're willing to slash it in half, that brings it down to about, what, 1.7? We can get to that number because Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin went on record to state that the administration would be able to come out with more money. They're at 1 trillion, 1.7. It would have probably been easier, at least 1.5, 1.6. And then Nancy Pelosi's staff retracted those comments. No, we're really at 2 trillion, 2.3 trillion, or whatever. Everyone hung up the phone on each other. No deal, right? So she told them, it's like when you have one of those people that claim to be your friends and they start as per Eddie Murphy, by the way, this is not my original joke, and they're dancing around because they got a cone of ice cream and they're like, I got some ice cream, I got some ice cream. They put it in your face. Want a lick? Psych. They keep on finding reasons to say no when there is clear compromise, ladies and gentlemen. Understand, if the administration is willing to hike up their number to 1.7 trillion, this is half of the $3.5 trillion HEROES Act. And Nancy Pelosi at 2.2 trillion, what, they're short $500 billion? I keep more of that in my mattress, ladies and gentlemen. I use more of that to soak up my dog's pee, to home train him, ladies and gentlemen. I rub his muzzle in it, his nose in it, ladies and gentlemen. No, but seriously speaking, $500 billion compared to $2.3 trillion and a potentially $2.3 trillion loss or a $1.3 trillion loss in tax cuts, when the top economists, the people that have the job of sustaining our financial markets, of keeping employment at maximum levels and keeping inflation rates at acceptable levels in order for the economic growth to continue, they're demanding for more stimulus. The American people is calling for it. Jerome Powell, before Congress, said, for the next stimulus package, interest rates are low. Don't worry about spending. Don't worry about the deficit right now. These are extraordinary circumstances. Going hard, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, Federal Reserve President Loretta Mester stated that the Federal Reserve would do everything that it takes through monetary policy, and the economic growth also warrants more fiscal policy, more stimulus coming from the legislative branch, ladies and gentlemen. Jerome Powell stated the Federal Reserve has lending, not spending power. So the legislative branch has to get their acts together, have to get off their seats, off their gluteus maximus, and get going and save this economy, ladies and gentlemen. They're not doing it, and we've empowered them to do so. Nancy Pelosi, there's another thing that I'm just going to re-emphasize this so you could keep this in mind. She stated, I believe it was on CNN, that all the president wants to do is send out a letter packaged with the next round of stimulus and nothing else. So she does not want to make this stimulus bill a marketing ploy where President Donald Trump can say he's the hero and he saved the American people. So as we get closer to the election, that means there's not going to be another stimulus check. There's not going to be enhanced unemployment payments. There's not going to be an economic injury disaster loan advance. That's the way I see it. You call it how you hear it and how you see it, ladies and gentlemen. Because if one party doesn't want another party to take credit for, quote, saving the American economy, and the other party, potentially they see something that we don't. They see that President Biden, the administration sees that President Biden is such a weak candidate. We'll hold our position hard. We don't need to do that. They're going to elect us regardless, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm spreading this message. Watch these videos until the end, because this is what your federal government, the people that we have in power to help us secure our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, they don't want to give you the monetary support and the ammunition you need to save this country. President Donald Trump is stating he's a wartime president. He's not acting like one because he's not giving his troops, which constitute the American people, those of whom are American consumers and the small business owners. American consumers constitute 70% of GDP, the gross domestic product. That's the total of finished products produced in a country over a certain period of time. That's the key economic indicator, the key metric that public officials look to grow in order to demonstrate that they're doing well with the economy. Small business owners, small businesses constitute 99.9% of all businesses in the United States, employing 60.6 million U.S. workers, half of the U.S. workforce, ladies and gentlemen. And they don't care about sending you any type of support that you desperately need in order to save this economy. I gave you the crumbling economic indicator. I'll give you a few more. Charter Holdings, an investment company that invests in real estate and restaurants, found that restaurant closings will double within the next 60 to 90 days, ladies and gentlemen. New York City is lining up 22,000 layoffs of municipal employees, people that will not be able to pay for their bills, to make ends meet, to feed their families, to do what it is they need to do in order to save this country, ladies and gentlemen, through consumption. So these people are going to have to get on unemployment. And as of right now, there's only 3 weeks of $300 a week enhanced employment benefits. Once that gets exhausted, the state has to reapply for another week. And then once it exhausts that week, then it has to apply for another week. So are they going to be able to do this through executive orders? Now, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said that the president will take more executive action if needed be, if Congress can't get its act together. So we'll see how everything evolves, but I just want you to keep that in mind when you hit the ballot box this November. And I'm not going to stop. I will stop at nothing until each and every one of you has what you need to save your families, save your businesses, save your employees, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to come up with more. It's work. We've opened lines of communication with public officials, with the U.S. Senate U.S. Senate Committee on Small Business Entrepreneurship, mainly Marco Rubio's chairman's office over at the committee. We've opened lines of communication up with them. With the SBA, we've managed to have the press cover the issues that will help us save this economy and save ourselves, the American people, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to continue on that path. As of right now, subscribe if you haven't subscribed as of yet. Watch this video right here for more additional stimulus and economic injury disaster loan and enhanced unemployment payment coverage. Click the like button if you like the video. Click the subscribe button to stay on top of my findings. As I've told you and continue to prove, we mobilize like no one else will, report what no one else will, and stop at nothing until each and every one of you is equipped with the monetary ammunition to save yourselves, feed your families, save your businesses, keep your employees on payroll, and ultimately save this country. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America and everybody else on this planet. Talk soon.